All right. So I wanted to share a technique I found in Clip Studio Paint. I was trying to figure out if there was a way to do something that would be similar to Photoshop's Smart Objects, which basically is the ability of having a dynamic layer that could be reused in different applications or different layers in Photoshop, different projects, and also that would allow to, if I scale it up or down, to not lose quality. And actually, I found something, so I just wanted to quickly go through that process. Maybe it can help people, and also it shows me some possibilities of that that thing. So the first thing I'm going to do in order to explain a little bit of how it can be used is I'm going to create a new file. And in this file, I'm going to select a template in order to have some pre-made panels. I am looking for panels that would be fairly complex, but actually I want something with more regularity. So let's see what we got here. All right, that's cool. That's also a technique that can be used, I think, for people who do storyboard. So I thought that was really interesting. One brief comment for people who are not familiar. These are, um, I guess, panel groups, and panel groups pretty much come with a layer, a group that has a mask, and you can draw and add content inside this mask as much as you like. So which one is that? This one here. Okay, hiding, showing, and I am going to just create a layer in there just to have a little something visual. Uh, let's use a big pencil. Is that a pencil? Yeah. Okay. And pretty much first application I had in mind. Oh my God, this is a great, really bad drawing, but okay, it's fine. I have a little bit of lag on my tablet with the video capture. I don't know why it doesn't do that usually. And let's say you're doing a comic and you want a character to repeat across your page or across a variety of pages. If you're in a multi-page project, let's say he's going to be here and you're going to find him again here. I have to go into the proper, yeah. So let's have one here also, and I would have like same character, same pose, kind of like the Brian Bendis comics. He uses that trick a lot in his scripts, where basically you have characters, panels repeating, etc., etc. The problem that you find when you do this is that you are going to have to go into your previous layer and do your drawing completely and finish it, and then you're going to have to copy your layer. And so basically you would do this, you would duplicate your layer, and you would bring it here, and then you would have, if it's a little tedious, you will have to drag it probably, or copy the entire panel layer and reposition it. It's a little bit of a drag. It's annoying. So let me just delete all that stuff. Okay, delete and delete. So basically, a technique that could be much more useful would be, for example, that you would select. There's also another issue, which is basically if you do that with a lot of things, it gets a little cluttered, and maybe you want to have a little bit more space, a little bit more breathing room on your drawing. So one thing I would do would be to actually go into your layer menu, and you would go to something that's called file object, and you would convert your layer to a file object, which is going to make this something dynamic that basically you can edit separately from your page. So you can copy your paper settings. It's not necessary here. You can copy the crop mark, the default border, or you can just keep your original layer. This, for me, this is fine. So I'm going to click OK. And I have to give it a name. All right, then, because it will have to be saved in a location that ideally you would remember. It's Manga Studio, sorry, Clip Studio Paint is fairly forgiving for this. I made myself a little smart scene folder for that. I'm just gonna call it Batman. I wonder why. All right, so ignore this. And basically, you created a I forget the name already, a file object. So you see that little icon here that shows that this is a file object. Now you can go into your layer tools again, go in the file object menu, and you have many more options. And an option that's useful if you forget where you saved it is basically you're going to open the file of the file object, and it's going to open that thing for you. So basically, all you got to do, pretty much you made a copy of everything that was on that layer into a separate canvas. Here you see you have Batman, and I can go back here into my page. It's the same thing, okay? Uh, all right, it's not going to be an art demo. And now you have a fully editable canvas. So if you want to go in there and tighten, oh my God, I don't know what's going on with that tablet. Let me to light a pencil, something not too big. Um, and I'm going to draw my character here. I'm not going to reproduce the speech balloon because that was just placement for me. So I'm just going to do a quick sketch of Batman. I could even make a more complex sketch with more surface covered if it just so happens that you might want to, oh my God, this is horrible. You might want to reframe and reuse that image many times. Probably not, of course. I'm going to hide my blue. Just put a couple of black pastels on top of it, just to have a little grit on it. That's all. All right. Okay. So this is something that I think could also be great for people who do storyboards. I'm going to tell you why very quickly. All right. Okay. So, Mangled Batman. All right. So now, when you have and you can go into as much detail and finish as you want, of course. If you'd rather do a paint, an ink, whatever, because that's more advanced for you, because that's what you need, that's fine. You can have it works exactly like any sorry, Clip Studio Paint canvas, which is you can put as much complexity as you want. You can colorize it. You can use the 3D tools. You can do whatever. Let's say that this is just what I want for now because I'm still working on what I'm going to put in my page. And at this specific moment, let's just say I'm only concerned about laying out my page and also doing placing my characters, my composition. Uh, I will just reduce the opacity on this, just to have a little something. Okay, I can just go directly here in that tab. This is Batman. I can hit that circle here, and what's going to happen? It's going to ask me if I want to save this. So yes, I want to save it, and it's going to close because that was the close icon. And now um, I'm not seeing any change. So what happened? It was hidden with this. Okay. So now it dynamically updated my panel. It's completely flexible, which means I can grab this layer, this Batman panel here, move it around, do whatever I want. And the advantage is, okay, so I also wanted to have this Batman in this panel here. I can just right click. I can duplicate this layer. Okay. And I can move it into this layer, a folder here. So I will just move it. Okay. I can frame it a little bit differently. I'm using the shift key, so I move vertically or horizontally straight. Okay. And where it gets cool is that, let's say you're doing let's say you're doing something that is for a client. Let's say you're doing your first pass. You're working with a writer, and you want to double check with the writer that your your page is flowing right. Okay. Um, um, all right. So the technique that when you do pencils that I find to be pretty useful is, unless you're doing something very specific like I just did, sometimes it's just a little bit faster to say, all right, let's say he's talking to the blue cheese Superman, and that here you have that vertical row where you have its characters, not very original. Okay, let's say this is Superman. All right, okay, and now you have the two dudes um, standing on a rooftop, and you have Superman again here. Okay, and now you have frame here. That's probably my worst drawing ever. Okay, it's fine. It's just thumbnail, so it doesn't matter. Uh, One thing that you can do when you use this technique is basically you can, for example, select this guy here inside his layer, and I'm going to put it in directly into the corresponding panel folder. So that's a template I got, and unfortunately, as you can see, this is in Japanese. I don't understand Japanese, so it doesn't help. Let me turn off, put everything in blue. Yeah, and I'm going to move this. No, not move it, but reduce the opacity so I can tell the difference. I could do exactly the same thing with this panel here and repeat it here, etc. Um, One advantage with this is that if you show it to a writer or show it to a client, they can make comments, or you can come back the next day and say, hey, I want to change that expression on that guy. It's pretty easy. You're not destroying your page. All you do is, uh, let me do it with Superman guy. Um, I'm going to turn it into a file object, convert it. Same deal here. And we could see if it did not memorize where I saved my thing last, so I have to go back into the smart scenes. Okay. It's very important to know that you can only, with this, you can only work with the clip paint, studio paint format. If you want to do this differently with other sources, there's a little bit of a gymnastic, which I can demonstrate after this. Sorry, I've not prepared this at all. I did not rehearse. I'm just sort of exploring in real time with with everybody. I will turn this one off, and I'm going to go and edit my file object again. So I'm going to open the file. Same deal. Turn this into blue. Make a new layer. Zoom in. Obviously, use a G pen just for a change. Superman is very dubious looking. Let's give him a bit of an expression here. Okay. Price, boxing champion ears for some reason. Doesn't matter. Let's say that for the sake of just demoing that I have a story in my head already, and I'm actually really telling something I know what the characters are saying and doing, whatever. It's not the case. I'm just making it up as I'm going. Superman, Batman, these are just go-to characters. Nobody has to really think about what they're doing. Everybody knows how to do a Superman, right? Okay, some hair. Horrible hair, just to be consistent with the rest. I'm doing some shadows. Actually, don't have to do all this. It's just that I'm boring myself on top of boring everybody else. So I gotta draw a little. Those it sucks for me. Okay. All right. So this is my stylized Superman, and I will do the same process. I will close it, save it. I will close, and I'm going to have my updated Superman, which I could repeat in another area. So the really cool thing about this is that as you're moving forward with your page and you're getting maybe a little bit more time to, finish your art, do something nice, instead of redrawing everywhere or deleting the content of this panel folder to copy the art that you've redone somewhere else, at least this way you're pretty safe. Um, I can go, the next day, tomorrow, I can go into in my panel folder, into my file object, sorry, and open the file again and work on it at my leisure. Okay. So if I want to change the angle, if I want to do anything like this, um, oops, just select, I don't know what I did here. I don't know why I have an eyedropper here. I used to have. It's just me. Tired. Sorry. Okay. Let's say I want a different angle for my character. Or let's say I'm working on a storyboard and the client didn't dig it, the writer, the director, and say, hey, can you? I like your sequence here, but I really don't like the character. I would rather have him do something different, have a different pose, whatever. You're not destroying your entire page. You're not going to a crazy headache. Let me just say all the crap here. Okay, would it work better with this pose here? Okay, same process. Save. Okay, so it's updated. So you get the idea. You can do repetition, and it's not too difficult. Another use. I'm gonna try to make this pretty short. Let me finish on this first. And basically, since you have saved these things, you can also use them on other pages. So if your folders are organized properly, you can actually do a lot of reuse. I'm going to make a new panel, a new canvas, and I'm just gonna make something a little bit simpler. I'm gonna make a 4 or 5 frames comic. Okay, this is this is fine. And again, for reusing, I might want to work with a background, a landscape that I know I'm going to reuse in one way, shape, or form, or maybe I'm going to use it differently. So let me pick actually a fairly small panel. I don't know why they're not in the numeric order. Doesn't matter. So your processes that you are creating, again, a file object. There's another way to do it, but it's not very useful here. And I'm going to save it street. Doing this because I prepared a little 3D scene just to save some time. I'm going to go into my sample page prep, smart scenes. Okay, all right. Okay, so now I have in here, oh, very important, if you have your object layer selected, it is not editable. It's editable only if you go edit it in the native file. Otherwise, you see that red icon, you cannot draw on it, you cannot paint on it, you cannot do anything. All right, so basically this is the stuff that goes here. For some reason, it is, yeah, I need to put it inside the panel, otherwise it's not gonna work. Am I in the right panel? I see. Oh, I did it in here, so that was the wrong place. Fumbling, falling on my face. It's okay. All right, so it's moved. Now it's fancy. I can draw inside the panel folder and okay. And let's just say that there's that background I really want to do, but it's going to be a lot of work. And I want to be able to go back and edit it, or maybe I want to use it on other pages, maybe framed a little bit differently, maybe zoomed in. You never know. Maybe what would be useful for me would be to have a tight pencil of that background that I could reuse on different pages and maybe ink separately. So, because when you start zooming on stuff that's already inked, it can look pretty bad. So, I'm just going to go through this very quickly. I'm going to go into my layers. I'm going to go into my file object. I'm going to open the file, so this file object. So um, I did something wrong, obviously. Yeah, actually what it did was I imported the whole panel. That's not what I wanted to do, but it's okay because I'm going to cheat and it's going to work. Uh, I'm going to go to File and I'm going to import an image I created, I don't know, like 15 minutes ago. It's in there and it's in my ref. And that's okay. I actually made myself a 3D ref for penciling. So I'm going to start stretching it. If I hit Shift, it's going to be an homothetic um, stretch, and if I hit Option, it's going to stretch and scale from the center. It's really cool because I don't have to work within this small thing here, but I could. Actually, I'm going to do it here because I want to use it a little bit differently from what I had initially planned. And I'm going to put it as a blue layer, and I'm just going to draw a few lines, obviously, just to have a pencil. I'm going to, all right, so something happened. It's because, yeah, it's something I imported, so I need to rasterize this layer. And now it should become an editable, yeah, layer. I can draw on top of it if I want to. I didn't have to do that, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to go here on the left, that little blue icon. This is actually my perspective ruler and other rulers. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to create, it's not really part of this demo, but might as well. I'm going to draw one vanishing point, and I'm going to create another vanishing point. As you can see, I'm sort of eyeballing and following roughly the, the perspective in my art. And now I have the vertical vanishing point because it's not exactly a 2-point perspective, it's a 3-point perspective. You can see it very clearly here. It would be very difficult to build a perspective from scratch without knowing where I'm going. Something I found with that uh, tool is it's super convenient. So I'm going to move it here, and I am going to go into an empty layer and see if sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah, it works now. It's basically my snap is on. If I wanted to see any line that I draw, it's following one of the drawing axis, the two horizontal vanishing points and the vertical one. If I do Command 2, I'm turning off my snap to guide. So I can also freehand on this. Shift Z, I'm gonna snap again right now, but you can imagine that something that you could develop easily into a more advanced drawing. So of course I didn't follow exactly my construction. It's not a big deal. I really don't want to trace on top of this. I just wanted to get a little bit of help. And let's say, it's a bit tedious. Okay, it's fine. All right, okay. And I just want to have a little guide here from my car. So I'm going to turn off my snap. I could actually do it into a different layer, but it doesn't matter. Okay. Just some guides for when and if I do a full pencil. Actually, probably would be. I'm gonna turn the snap back on just to have yeah, my sidewalk, and using the perspective for some reason. Okay, not zooming out. All right, just going to trace some lines behind it. Cool. You don't even have to do a full 3D scene. It really didn't matter because I just wanted to have like an initial perspective here. Okay. All right. Okay. Oops. It's going through the wrong perspective line here. No big deal. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's say this is a future illustration where I am going to draw a nice landscape and have a nice pencil that maybe I can use 2, 3 times in my story at different with different frames, and maybe they will be inked differently, maybe they will be lit differently, maybe they will have different detail, but I don't have to build it again because I've decided to use the same perspective and the same shot. I can do it. I'm going to turn off this. I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to move this here. Okay. I'm going to frame it in a way that I like, more or less. Actually, don't even have to do this because if it's just going to be a painting canvas, I can just turn this thing off here and save over my street depth clip file. And not saying anything, so what happened? I'm just going to move it to the top so I can see it. Okay, all right. Okay. So I can, for example, do, uh, I'm trying to scale this, and for some reason I cannot scale it. It's not letting me. Maybe, yeah, because the transforms are turned off. We'll have to, that's a surprise. I thought it would work. See, it's very, very live. Let me do a new layer folder. I'm going to try to cheat. What if I try to scale my layer folder? You know what? It's not working. I do not know why. I thought I had tested it. Okay. Well, my bad. What you would have to do would be, you would actually would have to rasterize your final image. Okay. So sorry. Okay. So basically, yeah, this way you can use. Let me duplicate this layer. Uh, it's not my last word on this. Maybe I can go back later and try to figure out why I cannot modify this, but this is the idea. So an advantage, I think, if you do storyboard or stuff like that, is that you can sort of set everything up, and when you're going to draw, work on a complex pencil, I would probably not advise doing the ink. You don't have to do a pencil here and a pencil here. Maybe that's something you can reuse later. It's really up to you. But if you have parts in your art that are actually reused, as is the case here with this building here, that might be a time saver for you because all you would have to do would be to actually go back to your file object and open the file. In this case, I would have to reactivate my perspective, make a new layer, make this one blue, and maybe go into a little bit more detail. I'm going to use a darker pencil with a smaller size. Should work. All right. So something you've noticed when you work with the perspective tool is like if you draw a line and you hesitate and you go back, although it's not doing it now, but sometimes it erases on top of it. See, it's doing it now. I'm going and going back, it disappeared. It didn't trace. Uh, all right. So sometimes you get snapped in the angle that you don't want to be snapped into. There is a very easy way to fix it. You go into, in the layers, you go into this icon here, which is corresponding to this specific ruler. You go into this editing tool here. It's the operation tool. And let's say I only want to build my lines that are going from left to right. This vanishing point here that I'm showing, I can actually go and select the other vanishing points, the other vanishing point lines, uh, such as this one, these two here, and this little icon here. You see how the lines are purple? Uh, if I click to these icons, these lines, these vanishing points become inactive. So this one I wanted to keep. I'm going to click other one. So that's the verticals here. And I'm going to turn off this vanishing point here also. I should turn green. Oh, that is the wrong line, sorry. Okay, this is green. Verticals are green and I only have this one active. I go back to my drawing layer. And normally I should be able to trace fairly easily. Yeah, something happened. I think what happened, let me do X. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to use this as a guideline. I'm working with the tablet, and what happened was that probably when I selected one of these lines, I probably, um, sorry, I probably moved uh, one or more of the vanishing points. Okay, it happens. Just demoing, so it's not a big deal. I shouldn't have gone and shown that extra feature, but it's alright. Okay. Alright, so I can build my scene a little bit more here. Okay. Yeah, sometimes, I don't know why. I'm on the top layer and that line won't print. Okay, no big deal. Okay, yeah, don't know why it's doing this. Yeah. Alright, and then I can go back into my canvas here, my rulers, and select the operation tool again, and I could go and deactivate that one I was working on, and I could activate. Yeah, it looks like no, it's here. Okay, some oh, it's here. I'm going to activate these lines here. Sorry about that. So now I am able to work only on lines in this direction. It is on it is it is and it can be a time saver in many ways, etc., etc. So basically now I'm not going to continue on this. I'm going to close this. Streets did not save. Okay, and this should update. Yeah, you see in these two images. So anyway, sorry about stumbling on the scaling and screwing up my perspective, but was not even considering doing a perspective demo at all on this, but this is pretty much how you can go about this. The last thing I wanted to cover was that if you go to File and Import, you can bring in, um, you can create file objects uh, from scratch, but the constraint is that it's gonna have to be a clip scene. So that means you will have to have created a document prior to this where you will have imported your content. Like for example, I have a little sketch that I did earlier yesterday. I was trying stuff out. I would actually have to bring it in. And since I had this layer selected, it's going to go into this specific panel folder. It's taking forever because it's probably pretty big. Yeah. Oh, might have wanted to select something else. Anyway, so it's taking too long. I'm going to try to cancel this. Uh, Clip Studio Paint is great. It's pretty much never crashed on me, but sometimes it will launch operations that will take a long time, and I'm on the MacBook Pro, and sometimes the Mac will tell me, hey, this froze, do you want to interrupt close the application? And usually I just wait. And it can be not responding, but I've never seen it crash completely. Yeah, so it's here. And all right, so I can't figure this one out, but this one allows me to, yeah, allows me to scale. I don't know why it was not doing it previously. Maybe it's because I'm bringing it natively and it won't be editable anymore. I was just trying to place it into this central panel. I'm making a story as I go. Okay, anyway, it's fine. Which one is it? This one? Is it this one? Yeah, I'm just going to drag this here. Yeah, all right. See, so I have a story that's pretty much building itself. Oh, and now it can scale. So okay, problem solved. I don't know. Maybe I was asleep at the wheel. But anyway, uh, I think it's kind of nice. It can be used for storyboard artists. It could be used for um, people who want to reuse content. So thank you so much for listening. I gotta go.